Hey guys, welcome to another episode of On Another Line. My name is Tyler. I get this question about once a month. What cameras do I use? What GoPros do I recommend as a fisherman or for a fisherman? So I thought about it. So I've done a couple videos in the past about how, what GoPros I use, what GoPros I own. But I really sat and thought about it the other day. I've never created a video that actually shows the differences between these, and I wanted to figure out a way how I could do that, not scientifically, but just have a way to check them out as a viewer on the other side of this. So the reason that I want to do this is that I want to create the ultimate guide for GoPros up until the GoPro Hero 8 Black is what I just now purchased. I have two of them now, but I'm going to compare cameras from the GoPro Hero 2. I'm going to do the 3 Plus, the 4 Silver, the 4 Black, the 6 Black, and now the 8 Black. I don't own a 5, and I don't own a 7. So a lot of those things actually are the same, but I wanted a way to do it collectively. Each camera, compare them to the exact same, the shots and stuff. So I actually am a technology teacher by trade, and I have the ability to use a 3D printer. So I've designed what I call the triple. Check that bad boy out. So on here right now, over here is a GoPro 4 Black, this is a 6 Black, and this is the 8 Black here. But the reason that I built this thing was I want to be able to check these out together and show you the different quality of the footage of each camera next to each other and back and forth between each camera, so you can choose what your favorite camera is and what you need to buy this is just for fishermen, guys. I'm not saying bass fishermen, I'm not saying cat fishermen. This is just my opinion on what GoPro to buy and what accessories to buy if you are just beginning in the fishing industry and you want to capture quality shots and be able to create a really nice video. So over the next few minutes, what you're going to see is me taking each one of the cameras, putting it on this mount and testing them, putting them through the paces. Matter of fact, this is going to be a several day video, so you're going to see some wardrobe changes here because this is going to be several days of video that culminates into this one video, because I want to do a lot of testing. It takes me a while to switch all three of these cameras out, make sure all the batteries are charged and whatnot. So again, I'm not going to dump a bunch of footage on you. I'm actually going to show you what I think about it and give you my opinion, and I'm going to give you the option, in my opinion, what the best bang for the buck is and why I think that. So without further ado, let's knock out some of these comparison videos between, again, GoPro Hero 2, GoPro Hero 3 Plus, 4 Silver, 4 Black, 6 Black, and now 8 Black. So let's take a look. Also, I forgot to mention that I'm going to compare it to a cheap Amazon camera. I think it's a Casa or something. I'll put it when I actually show it up there. It was given to me by a student. I think they're like 40 bucks on Amazon. I'm not sure. I'll check that when I put it up there, but I'm gonna check it out. So without further ado, let's start with the GoPro Hero 2 and work our way up. So let's go. GoPro Hero 2, 1080p, 30 frames a second. This is where it all started for me, guys, right here. Hero 2, 1080p, resolution, 30 frames a second. This camera right here is a GoPro Session, which is a point and shoot. You basically press the record button to turn it off, turn it on. It is natively waterproof. It was actually, I think the GoPro 5, if I'm not mistaken, was the first one that was actually natively waterproof without a waterproof housing. This camera right here is a Hero 3 Plus, shooting 1080p, 60 frames a second. So this camera here was my go-to camera for years. This is a GoPro Hero 4 Silver. So I bought both cameras initially, the Silver and the Black, when they very first came out, because I really didn't see the advantage of them, and after using them for a while, I realized that the GoPro Hero Silver fit my needs better because I wasn't shooting in 4K video anyway. So again, let's walk up through the stages here. So GoPro Hero 3 Plus, 1080p 60 frames a second. GoPro Hero Session, 1080p 30 frames a second. GoPro Hero 4 Silver, 1080p 60 frames a second. Again, my go-to camera for a long time. I'm not going to do the run test with these cameras. They don't have motion stabilization like these, the 8 does. So there's no sense in that. It'll just be just like the others. The difference between the 5, 6, 7, and 8, they're all natively waterproof, meaning that you don't have to have a case. The GoPro Hero 2, 3, 4, and the Sessions are actually natively waterproof as well, which means that you don't have to have an actual case on those. So you can see here a little bit of footage from noticing probably a little bit better audio than you would from the Hero 4 and Hero 3 because I have 3D printed a mount that goes around them. These are not natively waterproof. They must have their waterproof enclosure around them to be waterproof, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to use the Hero 5, or I'm sorry, it's not the Hero 5 Session, it's just the Hero Session. It's one of the cheapest cameras that they made. I bought it to test it. Turns out it's a really good camera for what it is. I use it for, sorry about the wind guys, it's a little windy here in Ohio. I use it for underwater shots, for lures, releasing bass, etc. It's a really nice compact camera that you can use for that stuff. So we're gonna look at this camera now, which is this is the cheap one that I was talking about from Amazon. It's given to me to test by a student at school. This is a Akaso EK7000. Notice this waterproof housing. This is what I was talking about. The Hero 3, 4 have to have actually Hero 2 doesn't have a waterproof housing at all, I don't think. Actually it may, I'm not sure. But so this is again the Akaso EK7000. It does have a screen on the back of that. Alright, so let's do a quick test here. Again, I took the case off from it. It's going to have better audio this way. My standard micro SD card, and you're going to have a micro USB as well as a micro HDMI on that side. 4K 25 frames a second. So let's switch to this camera. This is the Akaso EK7000. Not shooting at 4K. Apparently the camera either doesn't support 4K even though it says it does, or the video or the memory card that was shipped with the camera is not compatible with it because it will not record at 4K video. So keep that in mind if you're looking into the EK7000. It could be just the memory card as well, guys, so don't take that from my experience here. So see a little bit of deal here. This is again a cheap action camera from Amazon. You can pick them up there. Fairly decent, I guess. I've never tested it. I'm looking at the audio basically the same as you guys are. Not natively waterproof. You got to have the housing that goes with it to make it waterproof. If there's a waterproof housing like this with your camera, it makes it really tough to use the Yolatech power stick, which I'm going to talk to you in just a second when we talk about accessories. So here is some footage again from an Akaso EK7000. Claims to be 4K video. Couldn't get it to actually record 4K due to either the processor in the camera not being fast enough to actually record it, or the speed of the card not being fast enough. But the card came with the camera, so you think it would be compatible. This camera here is a GoPro Hero 4 Black shooting at 4K 30 frames a second. Camera in the center is a GoPro Hero 6 Black shooting 4K 60 frames a second. And last but not least, the grand poobah, the biggest, the best of the best at this point when this video is shot, the GoPro Hero 8 Black shooting at 4K 60 frames a second. A couple of things. These are the 3 most pricey cameras that I own. So first and foremost, let's listen to the audio on all 3 cameras. So first off, Here's the video only from the GoPro Hero 5, or I'm sorry, the GoPro Hero 4 Black. So this is audio and the video coming directly from this camera and this camera only. Next, we're gonna swap over to the GoPro Hero 6 Black. This is audio and video coming only from this camera. So you can hear the difference in the audio. I'm not doing any kind of audio editing here. This is what you see or what you hear is what you get. Last but not least, let's jump over to the GoPro Hero 8 Black, shooting at 4K 60 frames a second. And this is the video and audio coming directly from this camera. Again, I'm not going to do any kind of color correcting on this video. I want you to see these as they are. Hyper Smooth 2 on the GoPro Hero 8. You can definitely see a difference in there. Pretty amazing stuff. So my honest opinion of this entire shoot with all the GoPros I own is the newer cameras are always better, but they're always going to cost you more and more. Obviously, it's new technology. What I would do if I were you, my recommendation for you is to, first off, stay away from 4K footage. Don't even attempt to record it. Don't even attempt to edit it unless you have a really high-end computer to edit the footage. It's going to drive you absolutely bonkers in the back end and post-production. Stay away from 4K video unless you have some experience with video editing and have a really nice video editing PC or Mac. It's going to change your experience of this stuff. The whole idea is to keep it simple, record the memories, show people that you want to, show your grandkids down the road, show your buddies, share it out on social media, start a YouTube channel, etc. Keep it simple. My best advice is that, keep it simple. The other thing is that buy what you can afford, but buy the best you can afford. Buy, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, all the cameras that I've used from the GoPro 2 all the way up to the GoPro Hero 8 Black. The 8 Black is phenomenal, man. I tell you what, it is great. I think I saw the other day that they had a price drop on GoPro's website to $399 from $499, so that might be something you go check out. And again, that was at the time of this video, so it may be a little different. One of the big things that I like about the GoPro Hero 5, 6, 7, and 8 is voice recognition for commands. If you're in a boat and you have that Yolotech 53 on your nav light back there behind, around your motor on your boat, the last thing you're going to want to do is run back there and press the record stop start button so you can actually save that footage. The coolest thing about the new GoPros is that you can actually talk to it using voice commands, and it actually will, you don't have to program it, it just knows. I think the GoPro 8, the new firmware, you have to say if you're a male or female using it, probably does something with the pitch correction or whatever, but only thing you have to do is say GoPro stop recording, and the GoPro Hero 5, 6, 7, and 8 will all stop recording. To start the recording again, you're going to choose, you're just going to say GoPro start recording, and as long as you're within a distance that it can hear it, actually will start recording. The next thing I want you to know as an outdoorsman or as a fisherman, especially if you're on a boat like that all the time, is the looping feature. The looping feature with all action cameras, if it doesn't have looping, you don't want to deal with it. Looping, some of the GoPros guys don't have looping, like for example the Session that I showed you in this video, it doesn't have looping. It's one of those things that it comes in the higher end models, and it's something that fishermen like you and I are going to use. And just to break down what the looping feature is, guys, I use the looping feature at 5-minute intervals. You press the shutter release button basically on the camera, it starts recording, and if it's set on 5-minute intervals, it will record 5 1-minute clips, and then once it gets to that 5-minute mark, it basically goes back to the beginning of that first clip and starts re-recording over that. So a couple of things that does: one, saves space on your SD cards. Two, it also saves time for the editing process that takes the most time, especially for me editing these fishing videos. Used to be I would just hit the record button and let it run all day with like a 128 gig card at 1080p, and then I would spend hours upon hours trying to find like 10 or 12 fish catches in my day, and it was a pain in the rear end. It made me want to give up. But since the looping feature came out, what happens is when I say GoPro start recording, it records the first 5 minutes of footage again, then goes back and starts recording over that first minute and continually loops that until you say GoPro stop recording, or you go back there and press the shutter release button to stop the recording. And then what happens is the GoPro saves those last 5 minutes of footage onto your SD card. So that 5 minutes of footage is all that's saved on there. When you start it again, it starts that whole process over again. And then once you get to the end of that 5 minutes, it keeps on going. So maybe if it's an hour later you catch another fish, you say GoPro stop recording, it actually saves those last 5 minutes in time. So there are, I think it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and max. Which, again, for me, 5 minutes is plenty. Because when you catch a fish, by the time you get it in the boat and you get it unhooked and throw it back in the water or whatever you're doing with it, it's less than 5 minutes. You can stop it and you can go on about your day. The other thing is that it allows me to go through there and see the names of the clips in the GoPro. So if I go down there and it's numbered like 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, when I click on that 122, I can see exactly what I usually want to save within that last minute. It's usually a fish catch or something happening on the water, maybe a boat going by me really close, or whatever, you know, whatever I want to save. I can usually see in that last minute of clip what I wanted to save. The other 4 or 5 minutes that I have in there in that clip, I can use for B-roll footage. I can fill things in for editing and making a quality edit from what I can understand as a, you know, as a videographer. I want to make it a story at that point. So I can use that as ways to fill things and actually build the story from video that I may not have used before. So that was one of the biggest things when I started using looping, is that I had to figure out how to incorporate B-roll and all that stuff. Well, literally, you know, most people watch fishing videos to see fish catches and learn how to fish. So unless you're out there showing them how to throw a Texas rig or something, they just want to see you catching fish anyway, which is cool. So you can do that. You can turn off looping and you can create a whole day video if you wanted to. The next thing that I see with the GoPro 8 that I absolutely love is the audio quality of it. It's natively waterproof, which means it doesn't have a housing. On my GoPro 6, there's like an exoskeleton that goes around it, and it severely muddies up the audio quality of it, and I hate that. It's got great footage, captures awesome footage, has looping. There's a lot of stuff on there that I really like, but the muddied up audio quality I hate. And then Yolatech come out with the case that will allow you to connect other devices and stuff to it. So I have one of those, which has solved that, or you know, remedied that for me. But the GoPro Hero 8 Black audio quality is phenomenal. There's no external microphone on this clip right here. I have boosted the audio in post-production a little bit, but I want you to hear me standing on the front of my boat, which is a 21-foot Stratus, and the Yolatech with my GoPro 8 Black is on the very, very back corner of my boat, and you can actually hear the quality of audio there just from, you know, just from me talking to the GoPro. Again, it is quiet, it's out on the lake, but it's, you know, that's where 90% of my videos are going to be shot. So check out this clip. This is what I'm talking about. Awesome audio from the GoPro Hero 8 Black. So it doesn't seem like there's much happening on this bank, but you know, as we were coming down this bank, I noticed there's a lot of stumps and stuff sticking out under the water line, the normal water line. So these are the exact types of banks I'm talking about. That's a game changer right there for me. One of the big things that I want you to understand is that changing batteries sucks. Usually, depending on what kind of GoPro you're using, you're looking at about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of battery at tops. So what I would do if I were you, I would invest in a Yolatech Power Stick 53-inch. If you have a way of powering that thing with 12 volts with a nav port, they sell nav ports that you can buy, that you can put on a kayak, power packs, all kind of stuff there. I'll drop the link below that'll save you, you know, a ton of money on all that stuff there. Pick up a Power Stick 53-inch, plug that thing in the nav lights, you know, the navigation port on your boat. I have two. I have one on the back, one on the front now. One on the back's going to have the GoPro 8, the one on the front is going to have my GoPro 6. So we're going to have cameras going all the time. but it saves you from having to change the batteries all the time, which is a huge pain in the rear end, pain in the neck, especially if you're tournament fishing like I am. I don't want to have to go back and change my batteries every so often, because that's time that I'm not able to catch fish, which in the end could cost me money in the long run. So that's something to take care of right off the bat. Buy something that will power it. The Power Stick 53-inch from Yolatech is the answer there. If you fish in a rainy area, which everywhere rains eventually, pick up some of the putty from Yolatech. That will allow you to make it waterproof around the power connector of the GoPro. The GoPro Hero 8 has a kind of a design flaw in it, the way it's designed. The power connections underneath the whole battery, or the whole battery door. You have to take it off to use the Power Stick. So you could use that whole, fill up that whole cavity full if you wanted to, but it's kind of a pain in my opinion. So I have access to a 3D printer, so I'm going to try to work on a design that will allow that door to fit down in there without covering the power, and then pushing that putty around that. But that's something I'll post on here if I get it. And if I don't know if you guys have access to a 3D printer or not, but if you do, I'll drop the STL file eventually in the video that I'm talking about, and you can pick it up. In closing here, I want you to think again, guys. What I'm saying is take this for my experience. I am a little bit more technologically advanced than most people that are just wanting to get into the game of recording GoPro video. I teach video and sound at a high school. I get a lot of information, and I actually learn a lot from the students. They are, you know, bigger into the editing game than I am, to be honest with you. But I learn a lot of things, and I get to experiment with new and good technologies that are out on the market. So I've personally bought the GoPro Hero 2, GoPro Hero 3, GoPro Hero 4 Silver, 4 Black, the Session, the 6, and now I have the 8 Black. And I also showed you the one that I was able to test, the Akaso from Amazon. Guys, it's tough to beat GoPro. I'm not affiliated with them. They don't sponsor this channel. It's something I use. The GoPro here is phenomenal. I would go with it if you could afford it. If not, go with the 7 if you can't afford that. If you can get the 6, it's a great camera too, but keep in mind the audio quality is not that great. So if you're interested in getting your hands on it, any of the things that I've posted about in this video, it's all linked below, including the Yolatech Power Stick 53-inch. Guys, I'm going to save you like 70 bucks on one of those things with the link below. So perfect time for Christmas. If you want to get your favorite fisherman or fisherwoman something that they can last, and you know that they can remember and have memories for the rest of their life, check out a GoPro for sure. And second off, look at that Yolatech Power Stick 53-inch if they have a boat or a kayak. That will allow them to stay on the water longer, less battery changes. Make sure you teach them about the looping feature, and stay away from 4K video at this time until it gets a little bit easier to edit, and we'll see where it goes from there. So thanks for sticking around for this episode of On Another Line. I apologize, I know it's been quite the lengthy episode here, but I get asked all the time, everybody wants to know what GoPro I use, how I edit it, what I'm doing, what settings I use. So I wanted to do a comparison of all the videos, all the video cameras I use as far as action cameras. You can make your own decision. And again, just as I said, the GoPro Hero 8 is amazing. Stay away from 4K footage unless you have a really nice computer that's something you can edit on, because it takes a lot to edit it as far as hardware, and it takes a lot of time to render. Thanks for checking out this episode of On Another Line. My name is Tyler. Thanks for sticking around, and get out there and lean on them.